Good morning, everybody. Monday morning, and I hope everybody's having a great day this morning. I want to get something started here, and I forgot to do it, so we're gonna get going. But I'm sorry I'm late. It's been a rough few weeks, but we're gonna talk about this amazing tea that I use today. I want to talk about its relation to GLP-1s and why so many people are opting for this more natural solution than those. Of the drugs. And what is the difference between a drug and having your body produce GLP-1s more naturally? So give me just a second and we're going to get this whole thing moving. Uh, there we go. I just need a little focus. Whoop, that's not that's not what we wanted.
Would you be more confident?
All the stuff that goes on in my background. You just guys just got to see. So we're going to dive in. I want to talk about insulin resistance and why we're using GLP-1 so much now for insulin resistance. I also want to tell you what GLP-1 is because many of you may know and some of you may not. And so let's talk about that. GLP-1 is the abbreviation for glucagon-like peptide 1. And what that does in the system is many things, including keeping you satiated, including helping you feel full, and a number of actions that are allowing people to start to lose weight and reverse their insulin resistance. So does it matter whether you get it through an injection or something that's manufactured, or whether you get it from something that your body is producing by itself? Now, I want to start by saying I always feel like if we have something that the body can produce, we should allow the body the best opportunity to produce it itself. I think we've gotten into trouble with our health. And I mean, in my mind, I know that we've gotten into trouble with our health because we're relying so much on medications to do all of this work for us. And then we're not getting the natural responses our bodies need long term that causes problems. I've seen it time and again. And, it's like I had a friend who was a massage therapist before I started getting into medical. This is about injectable steroids like testosterone. And she would tell me she could feel the difference in their skeletal muscle from the clients who were bodybuilders or powerlifters or whatever, because we were all athletes. She could tell the difference in doing massage between them and those of a natural athlete. It binds the muscle and makes them much more tight, which is probably part of the reason why so many people die from cardiac arrest who are on those drugs, because it's hardening the muscles. GLP-1 does a little bit something similar inside the gut. It starts telling your gut not to work as efficiently. So it's not moving through food through, and it's just not being able to contract and work like it's supposed to when we do exogenous GLP-1. So why is a shot GLP-1 and naturally induced GLP-1, why are they different? And why does it matter? Well, natural GLP-1 in your body, you can produce it, and we can increase it up to 70% by drinking this tea that I drink. That some of the components in there help the GLP-1 rise. So GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide, is helping get insulin under control and glucagon under control by stopping the GLP-1 drugs, by stopping the receptor of those GLP-1s. But when we're doing that exogenously, what they've done is they've modified the GLP-1 so that it holds up in the body longer. Well, one thing that I've seen time and time again throughout my years of working in medical offices is that anytime we do something like that, there is a price to be paid. So with GLP-1 drugs, a lot of times what's happening is people's pancreas, their liver, their whole gastrointestinal system is just not functioning. It can put a load on the heart. It can cause problems with the thyroid. Those are some of the downline effects of this modifying something that the body does to make it do what we think we want it to do, because we always think that we're so smart in human existence that we just can do so much better than nature has. And yet, isn't that how we got here in the first place? The modified foods, the the inorganic foods that we eat have caused this problem in the first place because we knew so much better, right? Because we wanted to grow more crops and bigger, better crops, and now we've cost us our perfect nutrition that we've had all along because we thought we knew better. And on the other end, we're having all of these medications. So for me, I would rather increase GLP-1 naturally and not have this modified form put into my system that can cause a number of problems for people long term. The other thing with those drugs I want to talk about, then we're going to dive into the T and insulin resistance and whatnot. And this information, by the way, is not coming because I think I know so much. It's becoming because of talks from men like Dr. Bickman, who is a metabolic specialist and who spends his life studying fat cells in petri dishes and the effects of all of these things on fat cells and our metabolic health. So that's where my information comes from. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. I'm just a real woman that had problems and had overcome a majority of them and am sharing with everyone now how I was able to do it because doctors weren't able to get me there. Okay. So GLP-1 drugs are this boon for weight loss, right? We all see people taking Ozempic or semaglutide or now Mounjaro or whatever. And so people are losing a tremendous amount of weight. One of the things that I need people to understand is that up to, and again, this is according to Dr. Bickman, he just did a talk on it. But it's not just according to Dr. Bickman, it's according to multiple studies that up to 40% of that weight loss is coming from muscle loss. Now, a woman my age, say I'm 60. So a woman my age, we're already slowing down how much muscle we can produce, how much bone we can produce, how much lean tissue that we're replacing in our bodies. And now we're stopping that and losing up to 40% of that in the quest for losing weight. So when we see things like Ozempic face or Ozempic butt, it's because people lost so much weight so rapidly, and up to 40% of that weight loss was not fat, it was muscle. So now out of every 10 pounds that you've lost with those drugs, about 44 pounds is muscle and only 6 pounds is fat. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I want to retain the muscle that I have. I want to live to be healthy and strong. I want my joints to work and I want to be able to run up and down stairs for years to come. So that means I need to protect my muscle and not put it at risk. And the GLP-1 drugs put your muscle mass at risk to get to that weight loss. Some of the other things they do is it makes you feel slightly nauseated. So you just don't want to eat because you just feel nauseated and you feel so full and distended when you do eat because food is not passing through your gut in the proper manner. It's been slowed down and your gut is starting to freeze up and just not work. So it can't move the food through like it wants to. Eventually, that becomes a blockage in your intestinal tract and it's life threatening and you have to go to the hospital and have that taken care of. That all sounds pleasant, doesn't it? But you lost 10 pounds, you lost 100 pounds, you lost 30 pounds, you lost whatever, but now you have this extra bill because you're in the hospital and you have this gut that's not working right and you have all of these other things that are happening because of a GLP-1 drug. I'm just not an advocate of drugs, period. There's times when they're necessary. I get that. And so I use them too when they're necessary, but I really try not to have any kind of drugs in the house. So as far as medications, prescribed, whatever. Now, eliciting GLP-1 more naturally, it doesn't have this built-in mechanism that prevents the degradation. But what happens when you produce GLP-1 naturally through like the tea, um, but the fiber that we use also increases your GLP-1. When we produce it more naturally, yes, it doesn't last in the system as long. Well, let's be honest about that. But what's happening is you're getting more of it when you're supposed to. So you're getting this fluctuation of the GLP-1 instead of this straight line that the body's like, what am I doing? You're getting this fluctuation that matches your food intake and your day much better with a naturally occurring GLP-1. And one of the ways to get that GLP-1 up in your system without taking medications and increase it by about 70% is like this. So I'm not going to pull up my shirt and do a shot because I don't like injecting stuff into my body, just the way it is. But I'm going to tear the top off of this and I'm going to pour it in here, just like that, about that much water. Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on what I feel like. I'm going to shake it up. This one takes a little while to shake. This is how I'm going to give my body GLP-1, by drinking this tea. And I filled the two full of water. So I'm going to have to shake it again in a minute. But that is as easy as it is to increase my GLP-1 without an injection. But not only is it increasing my GLP-1, it's giving me anti-inflammatory properties, antioxidant properties. It's helping my brain function. It's helping me feel satiated in my brain because my brain actually has energy. It's helping me feel full in my gut because it's a little distension in the gut. It doesn't break a fast. It doesn't increase insulin. It doesn't increase any of the things that we're trying to avoid with this fasting fiber, fats, and protein that I talk about all the time. It's actually helping. It's helping produce HGH in a fasted state. It's helping produce ketones in a fasted state. It's giving you a ton of energy that's sustainable and not a spike throwing you around of energy and all of that. So when people ask, talk about the benefits, like, I don't know, do you want to take a drug that's making you feel nauseated, that's making you feel sick, and potentially freezing up your gut that can cause harm to your pancreas and cause the beta cells in your pancreas to stop working, which are where your insulin is produced in the first place, and your glucagon. With those drugs, you risk all of that. With this, you don't. You get energy. I know that I'm taking care of being as anti-cancer as I can be. I know that I have antioxidant properties in this. I know my energy is up, my mental clarity is up, that it tastes great, and that I just am not as hungry when I drink the tea. I feel so much better on days where I forget to drink this because, yes, 3 years in, I still get busy with life and I forget sometimes. Yeah, that's me. I notice right away that my energy is off. My mental clarity is off. I'm just not as happy. I'm like, what's wrong today? And oh, yeah, I forgot to drink my tea. But this tea is not just any standard yerba mate tea. It's a tea that has been processed. It's been processed. Of course, it's been processed. It was handpicked by farmers in Argentina who own their own farms. So sustainably and ethically harvested. Sustainably because it's handpicked and not machine picked. But then it's taken through a fire roasting process that allows all of these components that are so beneficial to our body to be pulled from the stem and the bulk of the leaf that we don't need. And we're then able to concentrate it. So hand-picked, fire roasted, extracted, highly concentrated. That high concentration means that in the studies you read about yerba mate, you're reading about a normal yerba mate, a normal bagged yerba mate. And there are some great benefits that if you guys Google it, there's some great benefits to yerba mate tea. This tea, because of the process we put it through, the last step, by the way, is purification. It allows it to be higher in chlorogenic acids and some of the components that are producing glucagon-like peptide or GLP-1 more naturally in your own body by it's 375 times stronger in chlorogenic acids than any standard yerba mate tea. So that means it's going to work a little bit better on some of these issues because it's just more concentrated, giving you more of what you need. Not only that, it's high in vitamins A, B, C, D, E, K, and a number of others and minerals that we need in our day. So it really is, outside of that, it's not delivering fats or protein, it's as complete nutritionally as any plant out there. Okay. So, in addition to this, what do I need to do? I need to add a lot of protein and some fats and some fiber. But the interesting part, you guys, and I'm going to drink this now, is that this tea, do you know this tea actually helps, or not this tea, this pre-meal drink actually can help increase your GLP-1 as well. So that satiety and all of the benefits of GLP-1, this tea or this pre-meal drink does it as well. So it's the same thing. We're just going to tear off the top. Whoop, I didn't tear that right. So now it's going to be hard. So just tear off the top. This time it's only about this much water. I pour it in. And this one I'm not going to shake as much, you guys, because if I do, it's going to get so thick I won't want to drink it. So this one is just going to be that. That's it. I'm done. Now I'll drink this. When I drink this, it elicits this series of chain events that happen. So once it hits my gut and gets into my intestine, it's feeding the positive gut microbiome in there. And a byproduct of feeding the natural gut microbiome is that they produce short chain fatty acids. Those short chain fatty acids, you've heard me talk about them before. They help us with ketone production. They help with a number of things. It doesn't break my fast, not spiking my insulin. So it's increasing ketones. It's increasing short chain fatty acids. So I said it increases GLP-1. Well, when it gets into the gut, bonjour, John. Bonjour. I know I'm not saying that right. Bonjour. Okay. It's been a minute since I've seen your lovely face. It's good to see you in here. All right. So GLP-1. When this hits your gut, it actually starts to produce more. It helps those short chain fatty acids are helping to produce a chain of events that produces more GLP-1 in your gut. So now you want GLP-1, you want the satiety, you want the weight loss effects and whatnot. Fiber and tea give you a much safer route to achieve all of that than those injections. They have to be injected because if they go through the intestinal system, they break down much quicker, right? So why is it that we have to have a drug that's resistant to breaking down if it were to be taken orally, because the drug would be broken down before it's usable in the system? But the same gut that breaks down those exogenous GLP-1 that they've had to modify and what make so that they don't break down, that same gut actually produces GLP-1 if you give it the right tools. Fiber and this tea help your gut produce GLP-1, and so it's not eating up this foreign substance. It's actually producing what we wanted and not having all the side effects. That sounds like a better way for me, and it has been. I was able to lose over 50 pounds at 57 years old and keep it off and reverse my hypertension and a number of other things just by using those two things daily. And so much so that I never ever want to be without it. When I have people who are been on the system for a couple of years and maybe their shipment is a day later than they thought, or 2 days later than they thought, or 3 days, they start to panic because they realize how much the system has done for them. And they're like me. I don't ever want to go back to the Misha that was there 3 years ago. I don't want to go back to that woman who was sick and couldn't walk up and down stairs, and my joints were failing, and my heart was failing, and my hair was falling out. You guys, I put on some lipstick because that's my thing. But I purposely did not do much with my hair today. You guys can tell, like, especially on Facebook, you can tell. Look at that. I didn't do much with my face. I didn't do much with my hair because I just wanted to like strip it down and say, this is what 60 looks like for me because of the system. And Tammy says the system works. It's amazing. It absolutely does. Follow Tammy. She does the system as well, and it's been doing great things for her. You can share your story, Tammy, if you would like. But the system has been become a way of life. And I know I'm going to go off on, I'm going to tell some little stories today, but I do another thing called the AO scan where I'm constantly checking the energy in my body to see what's going on and where do I need to adjust today and what foods should I avoid and what, all of this stuff. How's my heart? How's all of this stuff going on? That scan nearly every day shows that I need Unamate when I wake up. I had a friend who did the scan before she started the system, and for the first few months, it was hard for me to get her to understand that the system is non-negotiable. There are some other things that, yeah, your body's low on iron today, or your body needs whatever, and so we want to take those supplements as needed according to the scanner. But what she now says is, I've realized as she's saying, I've realized as I've done this system that this is more like food, and it's not telling me what food I need to eat in a day. And she said, the one thing at first I thought I could go on this, off this, on this, off this. And she said, my body needs this system. She's seen through this checking of her wave energy and all of this every day that her body just does better when she's consistent with the system. So she now knows that this is one thing that's non-negotiable for her. Just like she's going to eat in a day, she's going to add in the nutrition that our natural foods cannot give us. So there's another interesting thing with this. It has a lemony taste. This is the lemon tea, um, but it has just a little bit of a bitter taste. Yeah. So that little bit of a bitter taste is by design. When our body senses that bitter taste, our hunger starts to shut down. It helps reduce our insulin levels when we have this bitter taste. Sweet taste, I've talked to you guys before about, like, I'm human, you guys, I'm not perfect. I still drink diet soda to my chagrin. I know I shouldn't. I know that, but it's my one, it's my one thing that I haven't been able to give up yet. But I also know that when I have even a diet soda, a sugar-free soda, I get hungrier after the soda. That sweet taste, that sweet flavor starts to increase your hunger and is actually making you overeat. You guys need to understand that sweet is going to make you crave more sweet, and the bitter and savory flavors are going to help you feel more satiated and satisfied. So it's gotten enough that I think it's partly mindset, partly doing the system for 3 years. But yesterday I bought some kind of junky thing in the grocery store on my way home because I'm like, I'm going to start the cleanse on the 5th. I'm actually finally going to start the cleanse July 5th. I didn't want to do it July 4th because I don't want to be worried about restrooms on July 4th. July 5th, I'm going to start a cleanse. I'm going to start back with my practice of fasting 36 hours at least once a week. And I want to clean up my diet because I've been having some heart problems from years of hypertension. We knew that that was going to happen. So now I've got to take care of it. The tea, by the way, is actually aiding my heart in healing. Whereas like Bang Energies and those sodas and any of those other energy drinks can actually put your heart at risk. This helps heal my heart. Helps my heart rate normalize. Now, that's one thing I forgot to mention with the GLP-1 drugs. When we talk about GLP-1, your hubby does it now too. Same results, absolutely fantastic. It's so simple. You guys, my grandkids have been stealing it from their mom, and so she doesn't have enough. So I've been sending them extra because my grandkids love using the system as well. They see the difference in their skin, in their mood, in their weight, in their focus, all of it over a year and feel amazing. Yeah. So I bet it's hard to believe, 2 years ago when I was at your point, Tammy, I was like, wow, this is great. This is great. I've been doing this for a year. It's really amazing to me to think that I talk about doing this for 3 years now. But I'm so thankful, you guys, because look, the last 2 weeks, I know I have not been as responsive as normal with the last couple of weeks. My mom fell and got hurt. I flew across the nation to go see her, to go help her clean up 45 years of business and the remnants of it, and get the place cleaned up and get a bunch of the stuff sold so she can actually sell the place that they were living in. That was a lot of work. Now, 3 years ago, when I had a walker that I refused to use, instead I just pushed a shopping cart everywhere, and a cane that I carried with me, and disability plates on my car, and bags full of pain medications and 13 different medications that I was on, I couldn't have helped her the way I was able to in the last couple of weeks. I couldn't have. My body wouldn't have let me go up and down stairs, get up and down and do all the walking and the lifting and all the stuff that I did. So is it about weight loss? No. It's about quality of life. I came home from that. My son has been deployed. He's coming home very soon. And we're all getting ready to move from Maryland to Kentucky. So we have to get his house ready. But he's deployed. So I don't want him stressed. I don't want him at risk over there. So I've been painting his 2,000 square foot a level house, room by room, over the past 2 months. And we're wrapping up now, doing the trim work and all of that. But how, at 60 years old, am I able to go out and do all of this stuff, be a positive impact on my family, do all of the things that I do? This system. This system gave me enough health back that I actually have a quality of life. I can go play with my grandkids. We had pool noodles in Washington. I've got some videos. I don't have videos of me doing it, but we found some old pool noodles in one of the sheds. And so the kids were running around, like hitting each other with the pool noodles. We had some like weird sword fight. I was able to run through the yard and play with them. Again, 3 years ago, those memories wouldn't have happened because I wouldn't have been able to run through the yard. For me, it's not just the weight loss. It's not just the amazing fact that my diabetes has been reversed. My A1C is like 5.3 now. My triglycerides are about 100, and my HDL is well over 50. Like, I am so much healthier now than I've ever been for 30 years. And all I did instead of medications and injections was this. So a fiber that I have twice a day and a tea that I have twice a day. Now, most people are going to do the tea twice a day and the fiber once a day. But I'm a fiber nut. I love my fiber. I love the way fiber works for us because I'm kind of rambling, because in today's world, we're not eating perfectly. Yeah, mid 50s, Tammy says, and she got her health and her life back. That's the biggest thing, you guys. Ooh, the cost, right? We talk about cost. And I know some people are getting these GLP-1 drugs prescribed, and so they're not very expensive. But I want you, before I get into the expensive part of it, I want you to think about, if you're causing problems to your pancreas, if you're causing problems to your thyroid, if you're causing potential problems to your heart, if you're causing all of these other problems, but you're only paying $30 a month or whatever for a medication that hasn't been really studied long term at the dose it's being given at, is that really saving you money? Is that really saving you anything? If you can do it naturally and not have all of those negative side effects, but instead have a life of health that's giving you some freedom to go do and be with your family, with your friends, just like painting. I love furniture flipping. I love to paint and do furniture. I'm not doing it right now because I don't want to cause more mess, but I wouldn't be able to do the lifting and the work that I like from that, the solace that I get from doing that, the joy that I get to sit back and look at those paintings, if I wasn't physically capable of doing that work. And that's the big thing. So now the money part, it's $5 a day. And when I look at that, I sat down and I calculated out the food I need to eat to have really nutrient dense food, the way I like to eat, and the system. The food is about $400 a month. So it's about $15 a day for the food that I eat. That's not too damn bad, right? and then $5 a day for this. So it's about $20 a day that I spend. But I know that when I was eating all the junk, when I was eating all the stuff that was not so good for my body, it's easy, you guys. It's easy for us to lie to ourselves and be like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to calculate in that candy bar, that bag of chips, that soda, that whatever that I bought to fill this need that I have. I'm not going to count that in my grocery budget because it didn't come on shopping day. And we lie to ourselves about what we're spending. I save money on the system. And I know that Tammy just said something similar, that she's saving money. Husband and I go through the system, no medications anymore, save money, right? So people have this assumption that it's going to cost so much more to eat this way, to have these nutrients that we're putting into our body, and it doesn't. It doesn't cost more in the bottom line of the food that we're taking in, but it's also like the trips to the doctor. When I started the system, I was going to the doctor twice a month at minimum, which means that the doctor was a half an hour to 45 minutes away from where I was. So that's about an hour and a half just in travel, and then in their office for an hour. So 2.5 hours out of my day, twice a month, to go to run to the doctor, plus the gas and all of the stuff, and having to schedule it during regular work hours and all of that. There was that cost and that burden too. And then not to mention the time going to the pharmacy to pick up all these medications and the copay for all the medications that I was on. It was a lot. It was costing me not only financially, but it was costing me in my entire life. So we can either do these drugs that are masking the problem, or we can do something more natural that actually helps increase our own natural GLP-1. And again, when we increase GLP-1 naturally, glucagon like peptide 1, our satiety kicks in. Oh, um, our satiety kicks in, our our mental clarity kicks in, our energy kicks in. All of these things kick in a way that our body can utilize and recognize, and not in a way that makes, I feel like this trigger warning, but I feel sometimes like all the medications that they're being thrown at us, that we're being given, actually are like an abusive relationship. The drugs kind of like throw you up against the wall and hold you there and then drop you down, and they're forcing you to do things that you should be able to do naturally. I feel like that's just it. To me, medications, many medications, and the way they're being used are like being in an abusive relationship with our body. We don't want to do that. We want to give our bodies more naturally occurring ways to get over some of this stuff. So I didn't explain insulin resistance, and that's okay. I've got to get off and running. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about insulin resistance a little bit more. We'll talk about a number of the things that are happening with insulin resistance. But if you want a more natural way to increase the GLP-1 in your body, help you with satiety, help you with weight loss. By the way, I got to talk about this. Remember I said that with GLP-1s, you're losing up to 40% of that mass. That weight is actually coming from lean tissue. When you're insulin resistant, which is what's causing the need for you to have GLP-1 in the first place, your muscles are less receptive to insulin, which means they're less receptive to getting energy, which means you're losing muscle, not only muscle, but bone mass. In a highly insulin resistant person, you're already losing muscle mass, you're already losing bone mass. So now you're so insulin resistant that you go into a doctor, and what they give you is an injectable drug that's causing you to lose more of that lean mass. Now, with the system, this pre-meal drink and the tea that I drink twice a day, because it's naturally reversing your insulin resistance, your muscle cells are starting to become more receptive to insulin. Your lean tissue cells are becoming more receptive to insulin. When insulin resistance is reduced in this manner, you're able to put on and maintain more lean mass than before. So with this, you can lose weight and keep the lean mass that you need to function. With the GLP-1 drugs, you're losing weight at the risk of your lean mass. That's one of the biggest things that I think for me, besides all the damaging effects that those drugs cause, one of the big effects is that loss of muscle. At 60 years old, my hormones are dropping. The way I produce anything is starting to drop. I cannot produce muscle cells the way I could at 30. So it's more important for me to maintain and protect that lean mass, bone, ligaments, all of that is what I'm calling lean mass. All of that thrives when I do something like this, and yet is put at risk with those injectables. So there's so many reasons why I would do this over the injectables. Plus, ladies who've done those injectables at my age, many of them, according to Dr. Bickman, so within about 2 years, they want to stop the drug because it's just not working as well. And they're tired of being nauseated. So they go off the drug. Well, guess what? Say they lost 100 pounds. We can estimate that up to 40 pounds of that was lost in lean mass. Bones, muscle, ligaments, lean mass. 60 pounds of it may have come from fat. Go off the drug. Those women all eventually gain all that weight back. Now, that 100 pounds is not just, they're not gaining back that 40 pounds of muscle, they're gaining back 100 pounds of fat when they come off of the drug. So then they go back on it again. Now, to get that extra 100 pounds of fat off, they're trying to double down on this, and they're losing even more muscle mass that just cannot be put back on after the age of 50, 60 years old. Ladies, if you want to be healthy, if you want to keep your bones strong, like this is sad for me, you guys. When I went back to see my mom, I have been trying to talk to her about the system for years. And she just has an aversion to drinks. She's very, very picky about some stuff. And, she's at that age where I just can't affect it. But it's hard for me to go home and see her with her arm broken and severed from her left side so that it's just hanging there. She may never have use of that arm again. Broke her leg, broke her ribs. And I know that had I been able to get to her, had I been able to convince her to do this for her health, her bones would be much stronger and she wouldn't be so fragile and have such brittle bones, which means that she's probably not going to be with us much longer. It's sad. So, this is so much more than weight loss. It's so much more than weight loss. It's about your entire health. And when we're younger, we all feel like, oh, or at least I did. I'm invincible. I'm doing what I do, and none of that really affects me, and I'm good. Well, nobody talked to me about insulin resistance. Nobody talked to me about why all of a sudden all of this health problem started happening for me. And had anybody gotten to me 20 years ago, a number of the health issues I have, including a weakened heart, may never have happened. So this is about long-term taking care of your health. This is about giving your body nutrients it needs, and it's as easy as that. A tea in the morning, a tea that I'll have in the afternoon, and a pre-meal drink before I eat anything. You guys, as much as I love the tea, this thing right here, I buy extra because I love it. It's like when I have an acidic gut, see how thick that is now? This helps calm down my acidic gut. When I have a nauseated gut from my heart being having problems, this helps that. This helps me feed those gut microbiome and get my GLP-1 produced in my gut more naturally and get those short chain fatty acids, which are increasing ketones, which are the things that are keeping me healthy right now. All of that from these two things. So I'm going to head off because I just got messages that I'm late. I'll be back tomorrow to talk. If you guys have questions, if you want to know anything, if you want me to talk about anything, please let me know. And Tammy, I need to get your story and put it on this so people can see that it's not just me. There's thousands of people out there who are getting their health back naturally, sustainably, affordably, and realistically with scientifically designed products that have been clinically proven, and they're so proven that they're actually in the prescriber's digital reference. So it's in my profile link. You guys go there, find it, let me know if you need it, and I would love to help you get back to a state where you're just healthy and not having to stress about your health in your life, your joints, your gut, your heart, your brain, all of that by getting your insulin resistance under control. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today. Have a good one.